The government-funded free phone program is a political hot potato. It's supposed to help the poor, but we wanted to know, who's it really helping? In December, News 4 exposed big problems. Free phones handed out like candy to people who already had free phones paid for by the government. Even Senator Claire McCaskill, a multi-millionaire, received an offer for one of these free phones. After the story aired, the FCC promised to clean up the program. It's been a few months, there are still problems, and we found one company that's collecting more money than you can imagine, leading us to ask, is this why we're broke? This generic-looking envelope,
why would I be receiving this,
has ended up in mailboxes across St. Louis.
I saw that there was a free phone available.
And all of these people, including one of our reporters,
I got one of these in the mail. It says, free phone department, you have been pre-selected.
have one thing in common.
This was sent to my law office.
Each of them received an offer for a government-paid-for phone, but none of them are low income. Not even close.
When they're sending lawyers an opportunity to get a free phone, you wonder just how well they're screening.
Tear it open, it reveals an offer from Syntex Wireless. In December, the Missouri Public Service Commission approved Syntex to offer government-funded phones to low-income Missourians. The man behind the business is Paul Green. We traveled to the East Coast to find him. The company is operating in Maryland. They used to be here.
Do you have any clue what happened to that business?
But I discovered the former landlord is suing for back rent to the tune of $155 grand. So Green moved his company to this old beat-up furniture store outside Washington, D.C.
How you doing today?
Fantastic.
This certainly didn't look like a company that's collected more than $8 million from this federal program, and that since August. I was greeted by this guy. He said he was the warehouse manager.
Are you guys doing a lot of business in Missouri, or a lot of people actually?
I do not have the answers you need, sir.
Okay. Well, I mean, as a warehouse manager, though, you would know if you're sending a lot of phones to the state of Missouri, right?
Yes, we did start sending them recently, and who they go to, that's up to Mr. Green.
That's up to who?
Mr. Paul Green.
Green was on spring break when I showed up. He lives nearby in this lavish neighborhood filled with multi-million-dollar homes. His is valued at about $1.5 million. He tools around town in his Escalade. His lawyers don't understand why that's relevant, so let me explain. It's a lawsuit filed by the Securities Exchange Commission. They say Green, acting as president of a different wireless company, was involved in a multi-million-dollar fraud deal. It's long and it's complicated, but it means the same federal government that's suing him for fraud is allowing him to collect big bucks. Not to mention, Green was facing federal tax liens for 3 different years, one for nearly $120 grand. Records show he paid up in December. Talk about good timing. Those liens were satisfied a few months after the cash started rolling in from that free federal phone program. I asked the chairman of the Missouri Public Service Commission if any of this raises concerns.
I just have to ask the question if he's the best candidate to be authorized to do this.
Kevin Gunn says it is a concern and that Syntex is under investigation, which leads us back to this.
I'm a very successful business person and they're offering me a free cell phone.
Gunn says this offer may violate Missouri guidelines. The commission says marketing should be directed at low-income Missourians and should not be sent to everybody. Syntex offer says you have been selected for a free phone, then it asks you to prove you're eligible. It also says you can't sign up if you already get a free phone.
Get your free government phones today.
But as we saw in December with a different company, that requirement didn't stop people on this corner from signing up to multiple phones. So I asked a Syntex manager if that's a problem with their company.
How do you know they're not already signed up for another free government cell phone?
As long as they sign, because they have to sign the application saying that they do not have another lifeline program with any other company.
And you guys just believe them?
Yeah, that's all we're required to do.
In an email, I asked Paul Green's attorney if he disputed the claims made in this story. I haven't heard back. But in earlier conversations, I was told Syntex has an attorney on site and they are following the rules. You can bet this is a story we will continue to follow. Chris Negus, News 4.